It's 11, right? Or what time? Where are you, Jimmy?
Well, yeah, so I'm in Japan. Corey's in Miami. You're in Alberta. We're live, and we have a round-the-clock special episode with Graham Hansen of Cash2Crypto, which is a Canadian crypto exchange where we still know who and where the founder is.
Yeah, one of the few.
So, do you remember, like, there was a really interesting thing that happened a couple of years ago with that other Canadian exchange. But yeah, you guys are here. You've got your faces on the product. I'm kind of interested in this because, you know, I'm Canadian, but I haven't been there since I've gotten into crypto. And Japan is a little bit of a new breed, I guess, in comparison to what might happen in the States. So I'm super excited to learn all about what you guys are doing, what you're offering, and kind of a walkthrough of the website. But yeah, how are you? And introduce yourself, Graham.
I'm good. Yeah, so I'm Graham, CEO, co-founder of Cash2Crypto. We've been around for not super long, really pivoting into the exchange process but following the ethos of us making cryptocurrency even more accessible, and we are aiming to be the easiest platform for, you know, your mother, your grandmother, your, you know, unsophisticated investor to be able to buy and sell cryptocurrency. We see this like massive opportunity and, you know, a really underserved market, and that's that's what we aim to do.
Yeah, onboarding is the way, man. Like, so we talk constantly about. Hey, thanks for putting that up to me. You know, where are the ways that we can reduce friction?
That's actually not our site, but do not visit our site right now. It's we had some issues with one of our web developers. It should be back up and running in the next. It's like a really old iteration, like back in like.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I will. Yeah, as of hopefully the end of this month, everything will be up and running and back in order. But yeah, we had. Yeah, do not visit the site right now.
That's awesome. Hey, A-Paddle in the comments, like, what did he say about our moms? Yeah. So, speaking of moms, and again, like when people ask me sort of what's the demographic of people that are sort of citizens of the Uplift, like who's playing, who's owning land in this metaverse, and like the demographics actually are kind of shocking, right? We've got people of all ages, families coming in, projects coming in, and I think. Just especially around the beginning, the number of people, no, even still now, actually, the number of people that are just getting into crypto and the Uplift is like the first thing that they're doing is pretty high, right?
That's amazing,
right? This is the dream, right? Like we wanted to help onboarding any way we possibly can, and we're sitting in the situation where we can do that. And so then the one of our biggest missions then is to reduce friction, right? Like, okay, go get a Wax wallet and buy Wax. And also you can't get it on Coinbase and you have to do it on this thing. And then you can put it over there. And then, but people's eyes start glassing over and whatever. So, and we've got Mackie here from RT Educators too. And so like, I think sort of the thing that we're kind of brainstorming, and well, actually remind me, Jimmy, I'll get in World so we can do some gratitudes. But the thing that we're brainstorming is that we could create as frictionless as possible, an onboarding experience so that people can go from fiat to whatever currency we're in. Because again, we're going multi-chain, right? We're going to be on Ethereum pretty soon, like within a couple months. Obviously, we've got a huge exposure on Wax. We're going to get on Terra at some point. We're going to be on Newcoin at some point. Like we're going to be all over the place, right? So having an onboarding experience that is as frictionless as possible, but then like with a bunch of education baked in, so that people understand what they're doing, so that we could give best practices on, wallet security, and it kind of hold people by the hands and just one step at a time, then through an experience that is just kind of really, it feels probably, hopefully as similar as we possibly can to other experiences on the internet. So that, there's just a really high comfort level, right? Just make it as frictionless as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's definitely still a lot of hand holding that needs to happen in this space. There's still obviously, a bunch of different numbers around like 4 to 10% in terms of like, global adoption. And in order to get us really over that next hump and to move along the adoption curve, really going to need to see solutions that are like a lot more user friendly. I love Sam from FTX. Like, obviously he's like an amazing, like brilliant guy. And he came into the space with FTX, and it was literally like in like interviews, he said this. It's like the main differentiator. He said like the thing that set his FTX apart from his competition is only the fact that it was a little bit more user friendly than, you know, the Binances and other exchanges. And it's crazy. The space is still so new where we are able to, you know, just you build a better platform, you build a better service, and you're able to, you know, set yourself apart in the space. And that's really what we aim to do.
Amen. All right.
Also, I just realized that there's more than one of you. There's an Australian and a Canadian based. The link in the descriptor is below, but still, I guess don't visit it.
Yeah, ignore it for now.
It's good there for reference for later dates, but don't reference it at this point in time. I apologize.
I mean, it's no apologies necessary for sure. Yeah, I'm excited, and it's hard too because I think a lot of crypto happens in, you know, the similar countries that a lot of business happens, right? And so when you get people who might not necessarily know how to deal with international things, and then you throw them into the crypto region, it might not always be that easy. So I like the fact that you guys are targeting moms and pops and you know, grandmas and grandpas and the general people, right? Like, I mean, I saw a video the other day of a friend of mine. His grandma was over, you know, for Christmas last year, and well, you know, his son's grandma, and you know, she was putting on the Oculus and, you know, stumbling around the room and like almost killing the dog because she tripped over it, right? And like, but this is the thing, right? Like the days of going out to, like, you know, Toys R Us and picking up, you know, your kids some stuffed teddy bear for Christmas, they're almost gone, right? Like people are looking at video games and things like that. Now, what does the world of, you know, Christmas look like when mass adoption of crypto happens and grandma actually has to log in to, like, you know, some kind of random account and, you know, buy NFTs that, you know, their grandson is going to use for the next big crypto game, right? Or I think it's really interesting. So making it, you know, easy for the common folk has always been a really, you know, big thing of mine. And one of the first articles I ever wrote in the crypto space actually was, you know, detailing that, you know, and we're going to probably end up in an age where grandkids will be able to steal their their grandparents' money without even their grandparents having to sleep, because they won't have to do it from the wallet. They'll just be able to do it from the cell phone, right? Like, yeah. So I'm grateful for people pushing the boundaries of modern finance.
Yeah, I think there's obviously still, like, it's, you know, still such a new space. Like, there's still, everybody says, you know, I know, like, you know, Bitcoin right now is taking a little bit of a dump, and crypto as a whole is red, and it puts a lot of, like, you know, for the unsophisticated investor, it definitely is a little bit scary. Absolutely. But, you know, we're excited for, you know, the space to mature and the space to have some more, like, those unsophisticated investors to really, like, you know, get a grasp on it and yeah, be okay with, you know, some of the correctional once in a while.
Right, now's the time. Here's how you talk to those like, having gone through, you know, a full crypto winter now myself. The easiest way, there's two main things that if you can get people to do, this all gets really easy. Number one is to only ever look at the annual lows and shut the fuck up, right? Like, because if you look at the highs, you know, it's problematic. You need to be thinking in terms of, if you're getting in now, you're here for 4 years and you don't give a shit what the price is tomorrow. Otherwise, you're just going to have a real bad time. It's going to suck. And that's for the casual, you know, investor, people who want exposure to the space. That's just, you know, dollar cost average in, you know, if your timeline is 4 years from now, buying at any time doesn't matter. you're going to end up doing well. You know, if you're, you know, unless you're getting into like some like ultra shitcoin or something, right? Like who knows, maybe that'll just go away. But like, you know, if you're getting into the majors or projects that are going to be around for that long, I think you're going to be okay. And the second one is, and this is not really for investors, but it's just so true that I have to bring it up. If you're, whether you're building a community or you're, you know, building a project like ours, or you're building in the Uplift, if you're building, you just don't even notice these things anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like you have stuff to do where you're just constantly accumulating, right? Like you know, TC's an amazing example. I think he's in the comments here. He doesn't even notice. He just keeps buying, but he's building in the Uplift, right? He's building teams of people that are building in the Uplift. And so we just can focus on, you know, building in the space, and that way it kind of shuts out the volatility noise, and we could just, you know, bank in more.
Well, I mean, how many people are sitting in Canada or other countries in the world that put in like $20, $30, $100, $200 into the bank account every month? For me, it's just really easy to convince them, look, yeah, you might lose a little bit of money, but like, look at how much you're losing for having it sit in the bank, right? Like all you have to do is win more than you lose, right? And I think that's where things get really exciting. It's not necessarily about investing for some of these people who aren't in the space. It's about, you know, protecting what you have. And allowing it to grow and being able to do it in a decentralized way where you don't have to know which broker is the best, you know, that's sitting on Wall Street, because you can't connect to them, right? You can fractionalize it all. You can put it all in little amounts. And I mean, and if it doesn't work out, you can use it to buy NFTs for your grandkid. I mean, that's the selling point right there.
So Graham, again, like on this show, it's tradition that we put up a gratitude for everybody that comes on board. And we'll get to the comments too. You're more than welcome to anybody watching this. If you throw a short gratitude up on there, I'll get it up on the wall. But what are you grateful for this morning? Again, it can be big, small, it literally doesn't matter.
Oh man, obviously, you know, it's Mother's Day. I'm grateful for my mother. Post Mother's Day, yeah, like obviously amazing woman. Love her to death, and she's you know, been a huge inspiration to me, and you know, really you know, push me to be a better person. So
cool beans. Nope, I like it. All right.
What are you guys grateful for?
Yeah, Jimmy had grateful for people pushing the boundaries. For me, I blasted in a few just so we could start a new one. I'm grateful for you and Mackie. You know, the conversations we've had are really fun. It's great to, you know, have you guys you know, experiment or just be sort of thinking about what we might do together. It's just really cool, man. So I'm grateful you guys are around. I'm super grateful for Mondays at Uplift DAO. This is the first Monday ever at the Uplift DAO, and shit's fucking crazy. Like I knew it was gonna get to this point. I did not expect it to get to this point this quickly. But the team is rocking on all cylinders. We're ready to you know, smash the, you know, crazy. Things are going well. Anyway, so I'm also super grateful for the Uplift core team. We had a Tuttle huddle. Tuttle's our you know, sort of kind of operations manager, and so yeah, we had our team meeting today and just got a bunch of stuff done. So
Tuttle is definitely our own. She keeps us all sane.
Yeah, 100%.
She's definitely our own.
Like, yeah, right. Yeah, like and I don't even know if operations manager cuts it. Like, it's just like, it's just sort of like, you know, it's just the something that's amazing and allows for us to actually do stuff that isn't, you know, I don't know. I can get out over my skis pretty easily.
So speaking of the site, Graham, I think I was in there the other day. It looked a little bit different than the one that I'm looking at now. There's a few things that you guys are doing. Actually, it's not just you know, a one size scenario fits all, but you're actually working in multiple ways to bring people into the market. So maybe if we could just get an overview on that, since we can't walk through the site. I think I counted like 3 distinct ways that you guys were offering people kind of onboarding, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have like, I guess I'll start from the initial kind of like where the company started, where we're transitioning to, and really we've been like, you know, always continuing this, everything we do is for the customer. And we do everything to make it as easy as possible for them. So we started out with, you know, doing one of our founders or co-founders is a like private wealth investment advisor, and he had a number of clients come to him that wanted to get into the space, and so that's really how Cash2Crypto started. Is just really just helping people get into cryptocurrency, and then really low barrier to entry thing was the Bitcoin ATMs, and then we've developed a teller, which is like a go up to any sort of location. Those are being deployed or launched this month as well. It's a really big and exciting month for us. That's getting launched this month, where you can now go in and we have any business can, like, with our solution, it's like plug and play. Any business can start buying and selling cryptocurrency with cash, check, and eventually Visa and debit, or credit and debit, sorry. So, which is pretty amazing. We've seen like interest in like the cash and checking business and Forex businesses. But yeah, so then, and then we also have our automated savings coming in, the DCA. That's always, not financial advice, but that's always the tried and true way of long-term investing. And then we have our online exchange launching. So we're working with a third party payment rails for that. So we'll be launching in 140 different countries, supporting, I think, like 40 some different cryptocurrencies. And it's it's exciting times. This should be all launching this month. So it's going to be amazing. And then obviously, our Uplift partnership as well.
Yeah, so I want to dive into the Uplift partnership thing, but just in terms of timelines, so you guys already have ATMs that are operational across the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, what's the low way to explain why people might want to use an ATM and where they can find them?
Yeah, well, I'll preface this by saying, like, ATMs have typically had a bad rap in the past for, having these egregious like fees. And, we're still like, we're still a little bit higher. We have some locations around 6%, trying to push like which is still really high. Trying to reduce that as much as possible and making it like truly accessible for, the everyday investor. And why people want to use those, honestly, is because they're familiar with like cash and they're familiar with ATMs. And it's crazy, but if you and really actually that inspired the rest of our services as well, because people want to use services they're already familiar with. That's why Shopify is great, because every Shopify website looks kind of the same. That's why we kind of went the teller route. Even if you look at our website coming up, we were just demoing it a couple weeks ago. Everything is built to kind of as like a banking portal, and most banking portals are pretty shit, but so we've obviously made our user experience a lot better than that. But we still want to kind of maintain that theme of creating experiences that customers are already familiar with, to reduce that those barriers to entry, like the uncertainty. We want to create experiences that they're already familiar with. Yeah, sorry, rambled there a little bit.
No,
that wasn't even rambling. That's some core shit. And sorry, Jimmy, make sure you remember your point. I was like, the first thing that popped to mind is like, obviously, like we want to incorporate some of these sort of plug and play things with partnering with you guys. I think it's like such a high value thing for our community. So is Wax on that list of 40 coins? And if not, how do we get it on there? Because we're going to need it.
It's not on there yet. We've been chatting with the payment rails and working on getting that supported.
All right, cool. All right. If you need anything from the Wax side or from us or whatever, just let us know and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got all the other ones supported as of right now, so those shouldn't be an issue. But,
rolling it out in sort of the short term, even with Ethereum right off the bat, right? I mean, our DAO tokens can be on Ethereum. We're launching a couple of worlds on Ethereum. I think like the majority of small maps we're going to be releasing this year in our whole like push to go multi-chain this year are, you know, kind of top 10 for the most part. So I would imagine that they'll probably be on the list, except for Newcoin. And honestly, like, I should introduce you to Sophion from Newcoin, because you guys might be able to do some interesting things there as well. We just joined their little accelerator program, and they've got you know, a bunch of people like Vogue, and, you know, like they're kind of like a higher end art fashion kind of thing going on. So it could end up being an interesting collab opportunity.
Yeah, Mickey, I'm getting to that. So the second thing that I wanted to say was, it kind of makes sense to me that, you know, you're looking to pull people that are familiar with, you know, real world into the crypto space, right? And I can see that with the whole kind of, I don't want to call it a fund management thing, but that's kind of, you know, what you guys started with. And so then I guess like the exchange thing, which most people will be aware of, you know, in the crypto space, is interesting to me, because you said you serviced 145 different countries, if I heard that correctly. So I'm assuming that you basically service the world, with the exception of countries that are on, you know, like watch lists and things like that. Yeah, I was going to ask which countries, you know, are not on the list, but maybe Colombia seems to be important to a couple of people in the thread. So do you service
just one of the questions, like, just randomly, hey, are you guys in Colombia? I'm like,
yeah, well, definitely. I believe Colombia is on the list. I'll have to check. But as long as it's, you know, not a blacklisted kind of country, we're able to support it.
Right, like Iran, North Korea.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
Russia now. Jeez.
Yeah.
Now, Japan's a very cash-based society, and there's ATMs in this country all across everywhere. Probably more cash-based than Canada, to be honest. Now, this is quite interesting, because I have a friend who, you know, plays, well, his son plays Fortnite and things like that. There are these weird machines at convenience stores in Japan. And this kid, when his mom was sleeping, he like snuck into her wallet and took out a bunch of money. And he went to the convenience store and he plugged the money in this machine to buy a bunch of things from the machine for, I think, Fortnite or something, right? And just like plugged it right in there to the machine, and like, you know, it kept it secret for like 2 weeks until the bill came. And then, you know, it starts off with the bill, and it's like, what? Like, you spent this much money on the, like, how did you know, right? This is an interesting concept that popped into my head, because you guys are going to offer something to, well, you know, with the Uplift partnership, which I want to dive into. And like, I kind of want to know, is this going to be tied into like, you know, bank machines? Like, am I going to be able to go to a convenience store and throw money in an ATM and be able to buy, like, you know, Uplift land? Like, just saying, I might have to lock my keys away, because that stuff's going to be really valuable in the future. And I don't want my kids, you know, stealing my bank money for, you know, funds that they're already going to get anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Honestly, I've never, I'll be completely transparent and open. Like, my first, I want to say I appreciate the Uplift community and everybody who came together and gave me my first tour of Uplift.
Yeah, how'd that go? I want to hear all about that. But sorry, finish your point.
Yeah, it was great. And my first introduction to Minecraft, first introduction, like, really, like, truly metaverse or anything like that. So I really appreciate everybody who took the time that evening and did that. And so my experience, and honestly my, like, diving into the metaverse and everything is fairly limited. We have, like, you know, one of my partners, he's a lot more invested and into the, you know, NFTs and metaverse, and he loves his Oculus, and he's in there every evening, actually. So yeah, it's honestly, like, I've never actually thought about incorporating kind of like plots of land on the Bitcoin ATMs or the ATMs. It's actually never been something that we've even considered. So it's still very new, but I know you can, you know, you go to New York, you can buy NFTs from a machine, like, you know, so it's coming.
Yeah,
I'm sure
we're going to see more and more of that all the time. Actually, you know what? Remind me, Graham, I need to introduce you to the guys that run Nifty Blocks as well. They're really big partners of ours. By the way, we should probably announce this right now. Huge thanks to everybody who's watching right now. Nefty decided this morning that they're going to sponsor season 6 of rewards. Because again, Uplift is play to earn, right? Walking around and playing in the space, you're earning Upliftium and a little bit of wax. Now you're earning Upliftium, a little bit of wax, and some Nefty. And like a core function of owning land is anytime anyone walks over your land or plays there, or and that's kind of the thing. You want to make it as interesting as possible. Give people reasons to go there. You're actually earning our in-game cryptocurrency and a little bit of wax. And now some Nefty for season 6. And of course, season 6 is going to last for 6 weeks. They give us $1,000 worth of Nefty, and that's going to be going out to the community. So just a huge thank you to them. Juan and the team from Nefty have been we've been sort of kind of friends for a long time. I helped them kind of get started when they first started doing their thing, and they've expanded obnoxiously. They're very often the most volume on wax for NFT sales. So I'm just freaking really proud of them and really grateful that they decided to do this like 5 seconds after we launched the DAO. They're like, hey, how do we support you? And so if you have any excuse out there at all, just, let everybody know how amazing Nefty is and shout their name from the rooftops. But I think like it might actually be a really interesting opportunity, Graham, as well, just to create another relationship there.
Yeah.
Are we really play to earn though? Are we not play and earn?
Like the distinction is meaningless to me, right? I mean, it's an interesting conversation. And Graham,
so the guy is like, Jimmy, can you write an article about this distinction?
Well, no, and I do think I did say that, and it's like to me, and we've always thought about it as what people are now calling play and earn, right? Because like the play to earn thing is basically like buy this NFT and then like click this button 50,000 times and we'll give you some token, right? Which is about as exciting as like shoving cheese up your nose. It's not great. Whereas the whole point, behind the uplift was that, I'm a huge proponent of UBI. Technology is going to probably end up eating most of the jobs that we understand, right now. And it's going to happen so fast that it's going to create a lot of destabilization, right? And governments are going to, hopefully get on UBI, but I don't want to wait for that. And I don't know, have you seen governments? They're not super fast. So, it was fascinating to me that we could create a game metaverse, a place where you had ownership, you can go build stuff for yourself. You're going to have neighbors, you're going to have visibility, you're going to have foot traffic, interestingly, right? You're going to have all these things, but we can make it a gamified experience where, you're earning the in-game token that ends up having real world value just by dint of being in the space, right? So you're going out there and you're doing all this playing, and on like as a side benefit of that, you're sort of earning this basic, amount of token that then you can do kind of real things with.
Well, essentially, it is metaversal UBI.
I mean, that's the goal, right? Except, I mean, it requires a lot more action. It's not passive, right? I'd love to get to the point where every citizen in the uplift is getting some kind of passive stipend. I mean, the economy has to be much bigger to handle that, right? Because like the vast majority of it is kind of active now, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I think having that, the conversation you guys were talking about in the comments, Mac, you and the rest of you guys were having, I think it's important because it shows what we've been doing the whole time, but I think really shows the right kind of ethic or ethos for how we want to move it forward, right? Like, what do we actually value? We don't value optimizing to the point where people are just like running up and down the rails because they're hoping that they'll make money doing that. Like there's no kind of long-term value. There's no play value. There's no community value. There's no kind of connection value in that, right? But the way we've got it now, like we don't even tell people, Graham, how they get points anymore, right? We've got a totally randomized system. There's like 2 people on my team that know how people get it, and like the best advice we can give, kind of the optimizers, is like just go play. Do random stuff and have fun. Like that's literally the best advice we can give people around this. So anyway,
no, that's great. That's honestly amazing because then you see like people obviously trying to cheat the system and trying to do that run up and down the rails where they're getting as much of those tokens as possible, all those coins.
People were grinding in the most boring way possible, but it's what we incentivized, right? So like it really flows from creating an incentive structure that is just open enough so that people really are like most benefited by just going out and having fun in the space and getting people together and stuff. It's been
I want
a
to
really good lesson.
Competition. That's what I'm looking forward to.
What's that, Graham?
I want to join the next fishing competition. That's what I'm looking
Right.
forward to.
I want the Uplift to sponsor it. So like, I don't know if you saw the articles that came out. I think it was one of the second one, Jimmy, was maybe the one that had the data on it. Like they actually collected data on what kind of fish people caught, and they were in there for like a few hours or something or whatever. And I'm like, man, yeah, I want to throw some shards at this. Graham, if you don't know what those are, like the shards are basically, we have land in this map called Thune that you can blend 99 of these shard NFTs to get a piece of land, right? And you get like a random piece of land. It's super fun or whatever, right? But we've been giving out shards for retweets on Twitter and for doing a bunch of different things in game. But yeah, I'd love to sponsor a fishing event with like a couple hundred shards, and then people just get them distributed based on the amount of fish they catch or something.
I mean, she is doing another one mid-month. I mean, maybe we could just throw some shards.
Yeah, let them know. We want to do something. Oh, that's the other thing too, guys. Cool. If anyone has any ideas for blends that we could do with Nefty and shards or postcards or anything, just get your thinking cap on. Nefty, Juan from Nefty and I were talking about that. They want to do any kind of collab that we can even imagine. They're totally in. So if you have an idea, we can very likely get it going.
So I mean, obviously, Graham, I'll drop the link in a minute, but you've seen the videos of the fishing derby competition. We did a couple posts on them, which was pretty cool. I guess Corey's going to answer this, but then I want to go back to Corey's earlier question, because I was supposed to join you for this tour, but I was on the road home from the in-laws, and I told Mickey, I said, I'm sorry, man, I'm like, I probably can't make it. I got home like an hour after the tour began, and I mailed him, and I'm like, I got stuck in traffic. He's like, we're still here. We're going to Uplift next. We're going here next. And I'm like, I'm feeding my daughter, but like you had like an epic tour. You went all across the whole world and the server. So I definitely want to touch base with what Corey asked. Like, how was the tour? Like, how did you find it? Tell us about your thoughts and feelings. But I think Corey kind of wants to address this first.
Yeah, this won't take very long. Mackie was saying that, Corey, do you see the possibility of more companies coming to Uplift World and establishing their presence in the metaverse? Yes. Next. Yeah, no, it's inevitable, number one. And again, like as members of the DAO, if anybody has any suggestions for projects that could come in and create a meaningful relationship with us, where we can over deliver on the attention of some really rabid upstarts in the metaverse sort of space. I think we can do some really, really cool things. And again, it's right at the beginning, right? So like over 2, 3, 4 years, things could get will get frankly very, very fun and cool as we sort of explore what all this means. I should mention, Andre is creating Andre Abello, a friend of ours, in the comments here, is creating a merch store. So expect to see some really an interesting collab there. It's kind of more on the crypto side, but I think that will be one of those other companies that's going to be coming in and having a meaningful presence. But yeah, I'd love to get some ideas as to who we might talk to, where there could be like really good exposure for them, right? Like anytime we create a relationship like this, like I want to make sure that an experience, like your experience with Scram or whatever, like I want to find out like what's the best possible win state for you guys. Obviously you guys have some really amazing value that you can bring for us, and then just over deliver like crazy, right? Like we want to make the first few sort of relationships that we get with crypto and then with non crypto companies, just to make sure they're super excited about it, right? So that that just creates a good precedent.
Yeah, it's really encouraging seeing the number of like bigger companies that are the corporate S&P 500, whatever it is, trading on the New York Stock Exchange, that are like getting trademarks, getting starting NFT teams, crypto teams, Web3 teams. You look at the fundamentals in the space and like really what's been built in the infrastructure around it, like it's just up and to the right, man. It just keeps going. It's amazing.
Well, and I think that there's there's two really interesting sides to this as well, right? Because there's a lot of like there's a lot of like mainstream businesses or big corporations that want to get themselves into crypto, like not necessarily just as an investment, but like as a presence in the space, but don't know how, which I think the metaverse can be really great for, right? Because like once they're plugged into that, they can actually, you know, interact with real crypto people. Remember like all of those people that were just like throwing the word blockchain or crypto behind their name back in 2018 that actually did nothing for it, like nothing with it, right? Now imagine you have a metaverse place where you can play in the space, where you can have a build where people can come and visit. They can scan QR codes of people who actually know what crypto is and want to support that, right? And as opposed to just being out there in the real world beyond the ether, as it were, and people not really knowing how to interact and engage. And I guess like in a way, this is kind of what you guys are doing, is trying to bring people into the space, but you know, being able to collaborate with people like you and have that real world presence, and then, you know, kind of hamper down and get that real world presence in the metaverse where people can interact with like-minded people, I think is kind of like a double-fold area that we need to be in, right? It can't just be one or the other. It can't be transitioning from that world into this world, or trying to figure out how in this world we bring people from that world in. It's got to be this kind of full-fledged, I want to say assault, but yeah, I'm like, so.
Yeah, even from a business perspective, it just makes so much sense. The scalability of it. We're in the process, you know, of opening multiple different offices, you know, across Canada right now, and you know, even exploring like internationally. And the like, obviously, you know, there's quite a lot that needs to go into doing that. Whereas, you know, you plug into the metaverse and you know, you get your storefront going down, and bam, like now you're like global. Like it's like instant, like easy plug and play. Like it's amazing. Yeah, and businesses will continue to see the opportunity, and those who don't, you know, do the whole like don't will definitely get left behind for sure.
So hey, yeah, RT educators, that's Mackie there. Blockchain Square Enix sells iconic Tomb Raider Deus Ex games to raise cash for blockchain biz. Sony reportedly a possible buyer. This is the thing, like we're seeing this. There's articles coming out every day. Well, Instagram is going to start testing out NFT integration, you know, through Meta, which is a space we're going to be eyeballing that like crazy, right? I mean, the second that you can you know, post you know, an Instagram thing or Facebook or whatever, that's going to be, you know, your NFT land NFT. And again, your NFT land NFT, first on Ethereum, but, you know, I think the burn upgrade will be available, you know, uplift wide before the end of this year. You know, we're working right now on perfecting a system where the NFT image itself will be an automatically updating 3D image of what's actually fucking there. Like it's badass. So having that, and then having that also be like an NFT that shows verified, you know, on Instagram or somewhere else, is going to be epic, right? And that's just like the ideas that came up with us so far. Like I think the once these tools start to develop, you know, we're in this, you know, in the space where, I mean, this is like, and I was talking to my mom about this. She's like, wait a minute. She starts hearing about, you know, Facebook getting into metaverse or whatever, right? She's like, didn't you do that like a year before that? I'm like, yeah, I beat Mark Zuckerberg by a year, Mom. And it's real weird. Obviously, he's got, you know, a little bit of a bigger war chest, but you know, that, I mean, we really are as early as humanly possible, right? Like this story is going to be written over the next like 3, 4, 5 years. And every single little thing that happens in this space, we're going to have the opportunity to move and integrate that into what we do. And it's pretty fucking exciting.
Yeah. Like this is your, not to, you know, this is like a sandbox. Like you get to, you know, we're building, this is our play. Like we get to test, we get to build, we get to experiment. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, right? Like coming to work is fun.
It is. I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, tell us about your uplift journey. I want to hear all about it. Where did you go? What did you see? What was your thoughts, your impressions? Like, I mean,
yeah, so still like super new for me. And my first experience with Minecraft as well, or so I really liked it. I would say, you know, top metaverse experience thus far.
And also first, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, honestly, I was super surprised by the level of detail and the absolute sheer vastness of different people's land. Shout out to Chia Pet. He was one of the people on the tour, and all the others. I just really like Chia Pet's name. But yeah, his like NFT gallery, hotel, like the level of like, and then garden, like the level of detail that everybody's going to build the space, and even all the different creations that I've seen, like yeah, it was pretty cool, I have to say.
Show
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, that Chia estate's pretty awesome. And
You muted, buddy.
sorry, that Chia estate's pretty awesome, and he's like, he does some really cool things. Yeah, I've recently had the pleasure of actually kind of meeting him in the metaverse and having a couple plots next to one another. But yeah, really cool. So, and I like, before this whole foray, Corey and I had been doing this show for a few months. We met kind of through a different endeavor, and then we did the show where we were mainly focused on the EOS blockchain and then EOS.io. And then, as, the Uplift was born, kind of became a reality out of Corey's mind. We started engaging with this. And like, that was my first experience with Minecraft as well, right? Like, I haven't put blocks together since, I was 10 and was getting frustrated because like the Lego came, in squares, and I wanted something that was round. So it's interesting because like I was thinking about this today, and it's gonna sound weird, but it's like, somebody asked me like what I do. It's like, well, I write about a bunch of people who put blocks on top of one another, in a metaverse and create real world value. And it was like, I almost had to pull over the car and stop and think about this, because like there was a very clear image in my head. One of our whales, I would say, is quite older, right? Like he's potentially a grandpa or great grandpa, right? And he's in there doing this day in and day out and just like killing it, right? And we've got like people who come in with their kids and build with their kids, right? Like this is a really big generational thing where everyone can kind of engage. Corey was always good at reminding people in the early days the fact that like this was kind of his one chance a week to be able to hang out with his nephew who lived on the opposite end of the continent, right? Like I remember a day where you had to send a letter, right? And then we got cell phones, and then we could make phone calls. I mean, the other day we had a Twitter Spaces, in-world Twitter Spaces, where everyone was running around on location, just hanging out. And like, it's the first time I've ever actually hung out with some of these people of names that I've like written about or heard about. It was a really cool, way to do things, right? Like we provide we've been thinking about this. It's like, well, people have been asking us, recently, like, when can we get proximity audio? When can we do all these things with the vocals in the game? And actually at that experience, Corey actually flipped my mindset. It's like, actually, what we're focused on is bringing that sense of real world connection to all of these other audio channels that are lacking it, right? Like we now have a place where people can come in and run around and do crazy things like throw snowballs at each other and tap into any one of those platforms, right? Like we can make that a really, cool experience for everyone. Sorry, I kind of went on a little tangent there, but you got my mind kind of thinking, right?
Yeah, I think that, it's funny. I talked to Cowie for a good hour and a half on the events committee. They're going to be, creating, promoting, all the events like Chia's fishing thing, and the Rocket Gallery is going to be doing an event server pretty soon where you can pack hundreds of people into its own server with passport, NFTs, and install that stuff, right? And I want to do that for for you guys as well, Graham. I think like getting you guys a piece of land, and sort of call them embassies or whatever. Like imagine a build, any kind of build that you could sort of think up, right? To either kind of hang out and hire your kids to build for you, which is what half of the projects do, or have builders like TC and his team or whoever come in and do that for you. But then we get a gallery up there, and a gallery for you guys is gonna like just telling the story of your project, right? Like what are the things that people really need to know, right? And like and having that up there in a way that is just really cool. And then having an event, right? We run an event server where everybody in the Uplift, everybody you guys know, we basically pile some free passports in there. All you need is Minecraft, Java, and then you can come in and be part of that, right? And it's weird, like the blockiness of it. I mean, never mind that like Punks is worth like $1 billion or whatever on Ethereum, right? Like the lo-fi graphics disappear really fast, and it just becomes the experience, which is that's the first thing I think that fascinated me about Minecraft. It's like I played it a couple times, and I was like, this is like, I'm used to freaking Call of Duty or whatever, right? Like these graphics are ridiculous. And it was this kind of the zen of just kind of mining and building infinite railways that kind of kept me coming back. And then it just kind of went away at a certain point. And that's something that definitely during this event that we had, over the weekend, you don't notice, right? All I noticed was that like all these people, names that I'd recognize, they're all here. You feel like they're there, right? And we had the Twitter Spaces going on, so we've got the audio thing, happening, and a lot of those people are on the audio channel. But there's a real sense of gathering, and of course we gathered at the old cathedral where all of this stuff started, and so there was like a kind of I got verklempt. I kind of do that anyway, but like this is where it all started, right? And having everybody there for kind of the first few moments where we can take a breath as a DAO, where we all kind of own this together, was just really important. And I think my highest hope is that projects that integrate with this metaverse create that same kind of community and history, right? Like the Cash2Crypto exchange is going to have a build. It's going to have a home, right, in the Uplift. We're going to have a party. The first people that are going to be there are going to be able to hang out there, right? And get selfies with everybody and take pictures at it and post those pictures online. And but like 5 years from now, when Cash2Crypto is so fucking big, we can't even understand how they got that big. We go, yeah, we were there at the beginning, right? And we could gather there at the same time and have 1,000 people there when we do it or whatever. Like it just that sort of encoding our history into this place over time is like the secret stickiness to it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like growing together, man, it's so important. And supporting one another right now, like, we just have to support each other no matter what. Competitors, whatever it is, it's just, supporting the ecosystem is the utmost importance at this stage. We're not really in a, obviously there's, competitors, but I think it's more important to just continuously like just push the narrative of, like this is literally the next evolution in the spaces, and it's like we just have to keep supporting that.
Yep, I totally agree. Rising tide lifts all boats. It's just the way it is. And there's an epic tide coming.
Did you happen to visit any of the galleries when you were in WorldGram?
We went and saw Chia's gallery, the one he's building. He's got a couple levels built, but yeah, no, it was awesome.
If I were to take you to somewhere that gave you a choice of getting on a rocket or jumping into space and visiting a variety of planets with many different species, what would you choose?
So if I were to get on a rocket and I could choose a planet?
No. You get to just get on a rocket, or you get to get on a spaceship and go to some planet with like, some weird species.
What would I choose? Oh, man, is anyone. I think like seeing extraterrestrial life would be amazing. All
right, let's go with this one then, because that's the closest that we got.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty badass.
I love that one.
I think it's a testament to what Corey was saying. Like, I actually really grown to love the contrast between the blockiness and the actual real world art that's in the metaverse, right? And I mean, yeah, it's just really, back to what Corey was saying about having parties and things like that. I think to me that's really kind of what speaks to it, right? Like, you can have people that can show up and wander around and do various things, and I think that this is really gonna speak to how we move forward, right? Like, I mean, fuck video conferencing. Seriously, like, get in there and go and hang out at the headquarters and run around and have
build something together and then right. Like it ends up being this. I mean, I guess like we do that at kind of a the whole point behind the gratitude monuments. I mean, this wasn't the point. The whole point was like gratitude practice will scientifically make everyone happier. That's just like a thing that's real, right? But now, like, you go back to that tower, it's such a monument to the history of this show and this community now, right? And like other people are starting to do the same kind of thing on their plots, like in a regular kind of consistent way. Like, what does this look like in 5 years, right? It just like bigger. Like, we're gonna need a bigger boat. Yep. All right, guys. I gotta run. I got another meeting. I have to go to. Graham, I've already messaged Nefty because I want to hook up a call between you guys because I have a funny feeling. I mean, it'll be good for you guys to know each other anyway, but there might be some really cool things to do there. Yeah, and we need to get you in, get the Cash2Crypto spot building, and start working on how we're gonna do a collab.
Yeah, and when you get everything with the website figured out and all of it, planned out, come back and join us so that we can go through it step by step.
100%.
I will definitely, it's much better. I'll let you know. It's amazing actually. What at its current state, it looks really good. So
cool.
No, I appreciate.
What's the timeline on that? I know you told us, but sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's supposed to be at the end of this month. May 28th is the date.
Brilliant. All right, cool.
Development always gets pushed back, but yeah.
I think if we could target like first half of June for doing something like the DAO's going to be in full swing. I think that'll be a good time slot.
We should have the Cash2Crypto HQ, thanks to Mackie being fully built out by then. Maybe we'll see.
I didn't know he was already doing that. All right, game on.
We can have this conversation. We'll redo this in the Cash2Crypto HQ in the metaverse.
100%. Mackie, the second that's done, actually, we'll do a Twitter Spaces and just tell everyone to meet us in World. 100% game. Let's rock and roll.
Sweet. Love it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think we got Nick from Gnome Series coming on. And then there's another one tomorrow at 1 p.m. Just after lunch. But yeah, thanks all for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Graham, and we'll see you guys all on the flip side. Hey, this is the first time I've been able to do a chat with this arm in like 2 months.
Thanks, guys.